Thanks everyone for coming to this, our 22nd RaC Guild Town Hall. I'm filling in for Joe Ullum today and just getting us started before handing over to our speaker. So next slide. Great. So yeah, as I said, Joe's not here today, so I'll be hosting in her absence. And today we're really excited to have a speaker from New Caledonia, Maxime, on the line. And Maxime's going to be talking about a very interesting and excellent example of OpenFisca simulations and how using policy modelling with simulations can actually change policy decisions. So I got a bit of a sneak peek at this at the OpenFisca conference, so I kind of have a bit of an idea of what's coming, which is very exciting. And I will hand over to Maxime.
Thanks very much. I'm really glad to be here and to share this story. And it's a true story that could begin with a question. How did the impact assessment with OpenFisca radically change or transform a reform? So in New Caledonia, our social system was built during the golden age of nickel. For years, it worked. But over a decade, cracks had been forming. Energy prices rising, global competition intensifying, and factories struggling to survive. And then in May 2024, riots hit New Caledonia. An already fragile economy was pushed to the edge. Suddenly, reform was no longer a political option. It became a matter of survival. Fast forward to early 2025, thousands of people had fallen into precarious situations. Housing aid applications surged by 30%. At the exact same times, government revenue collapsed. We had about 14% of PIB decreased. It's really enormous. So imagine the equation: less money in and coming in and more people needing help. It simply didn't add up. So the minister in charge of housing asked us some questions. First of all, I need to know if the system is well managed. Are we helping those who need it the most? Is there any fraud? Maybe. So my team has retrieved the data from the Social Housing Fund, which was responsible for administering housing's benefits. And the answers were that the system was not perfect, yes, but fundamentally it was well managed. At that point, we knew that the housing benefits budget would not last the whole year. So the minister faced two options. Either we give less to everyone, or we need to exclude some people entirely from the applications. Do we need to reduce the benefits or reduce beneficiaries? Of course, neither option was good, but we didn't yet know how bad they really were. Here is the problem, the main problem. The tools used by the Social Housing Fund could not simulate the impact of these decisions. So we were about to make high-stakes choices almost blindly. That's when we suggested with my team to use OpenFisca. I didn't say it, but I'm the head of digital transformation at the Government of New Caledonia. And with the help of Coder of Liberté, a French society, we then translated the law into code, thanks to OpenFisca. And we built a really simple interface. We needed to move fast, nothing fancy. And the first step was to ensure I think you all know that, ensure the reliability of the code. So we used the data from the 3 last years to simulate housing benefits applications. And within 2 weeks, we had about 80% of accuracy. So we worked with the system administrators on certain rules or specific cases. And then we get 98% of accuracy. Check. These exchanges with the social housing funds have helped the managers to build trust in OpenFisca. And it was a really big step. And it was only there that we were confident enough to bring OpenFisca directly into the policy discussions. So we have no reports, no slides, just live simulations. The minister would like to know, let's change this parameter. What happens if we change this or that, this threshold or that? If we raise this or decrease that? And just with OpenFisca, in just a few seconds, we add the answers, both in terms of overall budget. So are we going to end the year? And also the impact on families, because we had the 3 last years, so we could use those data to check the impact of those families. And those answers were brutal, because even with major cuts, even with stricter eligibility, the savings were really, really tiny. Not enough. So, in fact, it was really about the scale of the deficit, it was impossible to do it. Every scenario that led to the same conclusion, it wouldn't work. So we were about to implement reforms that would hurt people. Think about the context. For almost no real impact. And that moment changed everything. Thanks to OpenFisca. Because once you see that, you can unsee it. Cutting benefits was no longer a serious option. So the minister made different choice. He involved the social housing providers in the discussions at the table. And he highlights the impacts. Look what we have tried. Look the results. And the conclusion was obvious. So instead of asking the most vulnerable people to carry the burden, we have together to shift the effort elsewhere. And then the employers were asked to contribute more, because the employers was also bring to the table, because the social housing fund is made of employers. And the contribution of the social housing fund was doubled from 15% to 30% for 3 years. So 3 years of helping the situation. And then new management rules were introduced, and this became law in January 2026, 5 months ago. And here is what OpenFisca really did. It didn't just calculate numbers. As a mathematician, you can think OpenFisca is just a tool. But no, it really changed the conversation, because we had live conversations. It made the invisible visible. It turned assumptions, what if, into evidence. It turned debate into understandings. And maybe the most important things, it helped rebuild trust. Because when people that see that decisions are based on facts and not guesses, they are willing to accept those changes. So for me, as I said on at the OpenFisca associations, I think OpenFisca is not just a technical tool; it's a bridge between the policymakers who must make difficult decisions and the stakeholders, citizens, enterprise, anyone's who must lead with those decisions. And in a time in New Caledonia, and I think in many places where trust is fragile, that bridge might be the most important thing we can build. So that's the story. Thank you very much. And I'm really glad to have your questions.
Thanks,
I can show
Maxime.
you if you. Sorry, I can show you if you want some tools used or some things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess let's start if we've got any questions, but I know that I'd certainly love to sort of see some of the tools that you've used and you know, what it actually looks like and what you were presenting, the front end that you were showing to government, but and your colleagues in government. But before we do that, are there any questions at this stage?
Hi, I'm Haruko from Tokyo. I'm an analyst researching on rules code space. And I have a question. I'm really interested in people perspective in projects. How did this specific project look like when it comes to engineer and non-engineer perspectives? And also, I'd like to hear a little bit about your background, whether it's in law or it's in politics or it's in policy making, etc. Please, thank you.
My background first, if you, it will be simpler. So I started as a developer, so in the IT system, and then I changed my position to the business side, and then at the more transversal size about 10 years later. So my role at the digital transformation is to be the link between the desires of the ministers and the reality. So that's why we had those ears from the minister, and it was quite easy to suggest to use OpenFisca. And it was the first time we used OpenFisca in New Caledonia. So I had those, I wanted to use it on a really true use case, not just simulations for simulations. And I thought it was the perfect example, so we did it. And for the technical tool, in fact, I think that, of course, it's just a tool, and the fact that the creation and the coding was done not just in a room of developers, but with the businesses, with everyone, in fact, create a really, really good circle of confidence.
Actually, that relates quite closely to Martin's question. He says that he's in a bit of a background noise, bit of a noisy place. I am too, so hopefully I'm a bit better than you are, Martin. But yeah, so what he said is, do you conduct any of your simulations with legal legislative counsel as a way to provide insight on rule change?
Beside, you mean other than housing applications? Or
Yeah, so actual, I know you talked about having obviously the politicians in the room, but did you also have lawyers and legal counsel?
yeah, we had we had them at the end of the process when we had to rethink, rebuild the law. So we, in fact, the first steps was to translate the law into code and to translate also the business or the actual, because between the law and the real world, sometimes you have cases. The law is always a little bit. There is blur on some aspects, so we need to, and we try to have those response not from the lawyers but from the people that were managing the system. So as I said earlier, it was the first step to the law. We went to 80% to 98%. So there is a big gap that we succeed.
And just in terms of, I know that you were working quite quickly on this one. How long did it take you to actually get the rules coded into OpenFisca? And how many sort of rules were there with different variables, etc.?
Oh, it was quick, but in order to be fast enough, we choose to work with an enterprise that was already a specialist of OpenFisca. So it was a French one, so we had 10 hours of jet lag. I don't know how to time zone difference. So we had to work from 8 to 8 to be able to advance. But within 2 weeks, we had the law coded. So and the law is about 6 pages, and we had about 25 parameters, I think, if I remember. So it's quite small, I think. But all those parameters were, I don't know how to say that in English, but everyone was used by other things. So it was really a mess. So that's why it was quite impossible to just use one parameter and get a magical result.
Unless anyone's got any other questions now, it'd be great if we could have a bit of a show and tell as well, Maxime.
Yeah. It's okay. So let's go. So I will first show the minimal interface, the MVP that we made. Let's see on the screen. So this is the interface we use to simulate things. So well, it's in French. Okay, maybe I can translate it. No, I can translate it into English. But so this is housing assistance here, and in fact we have very little things to do. First, we had a parameter file, which is in Excel, that we can download and then upload to apply the new parameters. And then we had different buttons to simulate things. So we had, in fact, those two ones. The first one was to see the overall budget to the parameters, and the second one is the to check certain use cases and on families. So we want to check a woman alone, a family with 2 kids, and we can set the amount of revenues, the amount of social aids. So we can specify everything here. Those, of course, this is a demo effect. I tried just. I have a problem here because it's 5 months that we don't use this. So, but in fact, when we did this, so we get an Excel result, and we show the Excel to the house. We've got the table into the discussions, and to see things a different way, we used this tool, Data Studio or Looker Studio, as I think you know it. I'm gonna show it. So here's another way to show things. So first of all, we had to understand how many people. So as you see it, the 3-4 last years. I should have translated into English. But are they alone? Are they married? Are they in grief? Or so that's the point. The social situations, the ages, the number of people in the housing, the city, the type of, the number of rooms in the housing, the leisure, and the revenue by people. So as you can see it, the people have it's under it's in French Pacific, so you have to divide by 80 to have this in Australian dollar. So that's the parameter, and then to see the impact, this is another example. So those are some parameters that we changed from. So we have, we see that with the 3 major changes, the help that was calculated was from 35 to 31. So it's 12% of decrease. And we can see then the differences on many aspects. So on the revenues, we saw that so you see the before and after the reform. You can see the difference, and the difference on the revenue. So the higher you get revenues, the higher you decrease was. The impact of the number of people in the household, so family, person just alone, and so on. And in fact, when you had like how can I say that? If I go back up, this amount seems maybe low, maybe high, I don't know, but it was really huge for families that had no revenues. So yeah, those graphics made really impacts on the stakeholders that were around the table, and those graphics were, of course, made dynamically thanks to the simulations we made earlier. So it was. I think you know the policy evaluation, public policy evaluation, and they tend to provide advice on when you create policy, try to bring everyone to the table, to the discussions. We really did it. So I was really proud. But afterward, because when you are inside the moment, it's really chaos. Like, as maybe my story was really logical, but when you are really trying to help, you don't know where to go. You don't know where the reform is going to go. We at the early stage, I had in mind that I'm going to create a tool that will make that will help people because they will have less assistance, and it was hard to do it. But yeah, the story was beautiful at the end. But the different steps, the walkaway was really it was not a straight line.
I was about to say, Maxime, I know there's at least one person on the call who's a native French speaker, and he has just popped something in the chat to you. I didn't pronounce his name correctly before. I said it the Australian way, which is Martin, but I don't think I'm even going to try and do it with the proper French accent because it'll be too embarrassing for me. Did anyone have any other questions at the moment? Oh, now you can not have me pronounce your name. Off you go, Matt.
There's a little noise on my end, but merci Maxime pour la présentation. Je trouve ça super intéressant. For everyone else, good seeing you. I had to pop in and out really quick tonight just because I'll be playing music, but I have stuff I could present on upcoming guilds, so feel free to message me if you're interested. If you're all booked, that's totally fine as well. So thank you, everyone. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Martin. Bye.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the visualizations. I think, for a lot of people, and particularly when you're in a room with a variety of people from different backgrounds and policymakers and people who are making those decisions, I think seeing the visualizations is obviously a huge benefit to them to quickly and easily see the effects. Did anyone have any questions? Julie?
Yeah, just curious, like when and how did you learn about OpenFisca first? And like how long was this sort of on your mind before you found this use case to use it on?
Oh, I think I heard about OpenFisca from Matti Schneider that you see on the last event. In fact, I I had some relation with him because I followed him when he was at the government of France, and about, I think, 10 years ago. And I saw I tried to see what the team done at the what we were doing, and I saw the potential really quick, but yeah, in fact, at the time I was not at the same position, and it's I think my biggest difficulty right now is to bring those the rulers code design thinking into other use cases, because it's been about 10-15 years that we have a IT system that is built, and we have some how to say that habits, and when you don't have really when you don't see the problems, you don't think you need OpenFisca. And at that time, with the housing assistant, we had a really good problem, so it was quite easy to suggest it. But now I like to use it for all the social or fiscal things, and it's harder than I thought. So I need to keep trying, and maybe with your help, with the help of other countries, we can succeed.
I feel like after this story, it should be easy, right? Like you really could demonstrate the impact of simulation and massive impact. I mean, really, without you doing that work, family really, it sounds like it would have suffered. Like it seems like it should be an easy story from here. So I'm really surprised that you still have to do so much convincing, given that you've got, this use case.
In fact, my really goal is to not just to use at the simulation point, but directly in the system, because I think we are doing things in two ways, and I don't think it's the right way to do it. So in predictions, and that's the key difficulty, because for simulations, why not? But you need to maintain two systems when you do it. So my goal is to try to convince my fellow agents to change really the system itself, and because we need transparency, and I think we can open many use cases for predictions and for simulations from university, from journalists, for other countries, for everyone. So just it's like try to open the mind of my colleagues.
I think there are many of us trying to do similar things in different countries. So you're not alone, Maxime.
Yeah.
So beyond the social security benefits, then, are there any other situations where you'd like to be seeing OpenFisca used?
Or taxes, of course, and yeah, we made a first step, but there are many steps to do so. So I hope I'm waiting for a decision. So let's see.
Yeah, make sure you let us know if you get a decision soon, and we can schedule something else about that.
Yeah, it will be a great pleasure.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Maxime? Haruko.
Thank you for the presentation. It's a fascinating story, really. I have a question about the parameters. How often with this housing benefit scheme, how often do you have to renew to the latest?
When I saw the law, I think it changed every 2 or 3 years. So yeah, that's but it's always some adjustments, you know, not really big changes. Or yeah, some specific rules, because sometimes you see something, and yes, and I hope that for the future reforms, that the system will still be used, of course.
We've also got a question from Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hey.
Hi, Philip. Hi, Maxime. This is very cool. I have 2 questions for you, actually. First one is, were there any, and I apologize because I missed the start of your presentation, so you may have said this already, but were there any other tools that you considered using besides OpenFisca? And then the second thing is, are there any specific points of friction that you have when talking to people about getting the rules as code approach into how the actual system is built?
So the tools that we use now, we use just OpenFisca, a simple interface to simulate things, and then Looker Studio from Google, and then Grist to how to say that, to create those use cases, you know. Grist, I don't know if you know this tool, is like a Airtable, so it's a database, and then you can use really quickly. And the friction, in fact, no, we didn't have any frictions, because we came to solve a problem, and there is no other option on the table. In fact, the managers of the social housing fund had not the tool to make the simulations or to see the impacts. So they have just the data. So here is the data. And I had a data team that can analyze the data, but they can make predictions with AI, but it was not relevant. So we use the OpenFisca to really have some good and real assumptions to simulate the older applications with the new parameters. So if those files were made with these new parameters, what would be the impact? And in fact, we move so fast that and we build trust I think really fast. So it was just a journey that we made with everyone, and on the way, more and more people and stakeholders were coming into the journey. So the trust was bigger,
it was
and
building
bigger
on itself. Yeah. And is
yeah,
that like when you talk to the departments about like taking what we were using for simulation and you talk to them about using it for how the actual system is built, Are there different kinds of friction there?
The new law that was created changed the people, I don't know how to say that, the people that we were in charge of the system. So before it was the housing housing social fund, and then they moved to another association. So and I saw that then I had difficulties because that was not the same people. So yeah, they have to be the to create the new. They have to create those new rules inside their systems, and they don't use OpenFisca at all. So I have this difficulty also to. I think they have a really good basis, but it's really too far from what they know, or what they used to do, and even the language used in Python. Yeah, they don't use Python, so difficult.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jason. Did anyone else have any other questions? No, Maxime, did you have any last statements before we start to close the meeting?
Well, just thank you for your questions, and I really appreciate those discussions. I hope to come see you soon with, I hope, other conclusions and maybe some different perspectives. So thank you very much.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Maxime. And thanks for everyone else for joining today. We do have our next meeting is on the 1st of July. So we're first Wednesday of the month, alternating between 9 a.m. Australian time and 7 p.m. Australian time. So our next one is our one that's friendly for our European audiences. You can also go to racguild.org at events/events for details in the calendar invite. And if you're wanting to join the RaC Guild, you can go to racguild.org/become a member. All right, I think that's it. Thanks again, everyone, for attending, and we will see some of you in July. Thanks again, Maxime.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.